Welcome to Terrified Tales, where things are about to get unsettling. Before we dive deeper into the darkness, make sure to like and subscribe. Let us know where you're listening from and what time it is. Are you brave enough to be here at night? Now, relax and let the fear take hold. Dr. Emma Taylor stepped off the train and onto the worn platform, the familiar sights and sounds of Ravenswood washing over her like a wave. It had been years since she'd set foot in her hometown, and the nostalgia was bittersweet. As a psychologist, Emma had spent years studying the human mind, trying to understand the complexities of memory and trauma. But nothing could have prepared her for the phone call she'd received a week ago, informing her that her mother was ill. The diagnosis was vague, some kind of neurological disorder that was causing her mother to forget her memories one by one. Emma's heart ached at the thought of her mother, once sharp as a tack, now struggling to recall even the simplest things. As Emma made her way through the quiet streets of Ravenswood, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The town seemed smaller than she remembered, the houses more worn and weathered. But it was the atmosphere that really caught her attention, a heavy, oppressive feeling that seemed to weigh on everyone she saw. Emma's mother, Claire, was waiting. For her on the porch of their old family home, a look of confusion etched on her face. "Emma," she said, her voice hesitant. "Is that you?" Emma's heart went out to her mother, and she rushed to hug her tightly. "It's me, Mom," she said, trying to keep her emotions in check. "I'm home." As they hugged, Emma couldn't help but notice the strange look in her mother's eyes. It was a look of fear, of uncertainty, and it was a look that Emma knew all too well. Over the next few days, Emma settled into a routine of caring for her mother, trying to help her regain her memories. But as the days passed, Emma began to realize that something was very wrong. Her mother's memories weren't just fading, they were being taken. And Emma had a feeling that she knew exactly who was responsible. As Emma settled into her new routine, she began to notice the full extent of her mother's memory loss. Claire would forget simple things, like where she put her keys or what she had for breakfast. But it was the bigger things that really worried. Emma, her mother's memories of their family's past, of Emma's childhood, of her own life. Emma tried to be patient, to understand that her mother's illness was a cruel and unpredictable thing. But it was hard to watch her mother struggle, to see the fear and confusion in her eyes. One day, as Emma was helping her mother get dressed, Claire looked at her with a puzzled expression. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice hesitant. Emma's heart went out to her mother, and she took her hand gently. "I'm Emma, Mom," she said. "Your daughter." Claire looked at her, a faint glimmer of recognition in her eyes. "Emma?" she repeated. "I'm sorry, dear. I don't remember." Emma smiled, trying to reassure her mother. "It's okay, Mom," she said. "I'm here to help you. We'll get through this together." But as the days passed, Emma began to realize that her mother's memory loss was not just a simple case of forgetfulness. There was something more sinister at work, something that was deliberately taking her mother's memories. And Emma was determined to find out what it was. As she sat with her mother, watching her struggle to remember even the simplest things, Emma felt a surge of anger and frustration. She was a psychologist, trained to understand the human mind. But this was something different, something that went beyond the boundaries of normal psychology. Emma knew that she had to get to the bottom of her mother's illness, to find out what was causing her memory loss, and she was willing to do whatever it took to make that happen. Little did Emma know, she was about to embark on a journey that would take her to the very edges of sanity and beyond. A journey that would force her to confront the darkest corners of her own mind and to face the evil presence that was haunting her mother. The presence that was eating away at her mother's memories, leaving her a shell of her former self. Emma spent the next few days researching her mother's illness, trying to understand what could be causing her memory loss. She scoured the internet, talked to doctors and specialists, and even consulted with her colleagues in the field of psychology. But no matter where she looked, Emma couldn't find any explanation for her mother's condition. It was as if her mother's memories were being erased, one by one, with no discernible pattern or cause. Frustrated and worried, Emma decided to take a different approach. She began to ask her mother questions, trying to jog her memory and see if she could recall anything about her past. At first, Claire seemed hesitant, unsure of what to say or how to respond. But as Emma continued to ask her questions, she began to open up, sharing fragments of memories and stories from her past. Emma listened intently, taking note of every detail, every word. She was searching for a pattern, a clue, anything that might explain what was happening to her mother. And then, just as Emma was about to give up, Claire said something that made her heart skip a beat. "I remember something," Claire said, her eyes locked on Emma's. "I remember a place, a dark place, with shadows." Emma's mind was racing. What place could her mother be talking about? And what did it have to do with her memory loss? She leaned forward, her eyes locked on her mother's. "Tell me more, Mom," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "What do you remember about this place?" But Claire just shook her head, her eyes clouding over. "I don't know," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I just remember the shadows." Emma's heart was heavy with worry. She knew that she had to find out what was happening to her mother, and fast. But as she looked into her mother's eyes, she saw something that made her blood run cold, a flicker of fear. And in that moment, Emma knew that she was in over her head. She was dealing with something sinister, something that was beyond her comprehension, and she was running out of time. As Emma continued to care for her mother, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. It was as if a dark presence was lurking in the shadows, watching her every move. At first, Emma dismissed the feeling as mere paranoia, but as the days passed, the sensation grew stronger. She would catch glimpses of something out of the corner of her eye, only to turn and find no one there. One night, as Emma was helping her mother get ready for bed, she felt the presence again. This time, it was stronger than ever before. "Mom, do you feel that?" Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Claire looked at her, confusion etched on her face. "Feel what, dear?" Emma hesitated, unsure of how to explain. "It's like a presence, a dark presence." Claire's expression changed, and for a moment Emma saw a flicker of fear in her eyes. "I know what you mean," Claire said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I felt it too." Emma's heart was racing. "What is it, Mom?" she asked, her voice urgent. But Claire just shook her head. "I don't know," she said, "but I think it's connected to what's happening to me." Emma's mind was racing. What could be causing her mother's memory loss? And what was this dark presence that they both felt? As she helped her mother into bed, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that they were in grave danger. The presence was growing stronger, and Emma knew that she had to find a way to stop it before it was too late. But as she turned to leave, Emma saw something that made her blood run cold, a shadowy figure lurking in the doorway. "Mum, I think we have a problem," Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. But as she turned to face the figure, it vanished into thin air. Emma was left standing alone, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew that she had to find a way to protect her mother and herself from the dark presence that was haunting them. But as she looked around the room, Emma realized that she was trapped. The presence was everywhere, watching her every move, and Emma knew that she was running out of time. As Emma tried to make sense of the strange occurrences happening around her, she began to research the history of Ravenswood. She spent hours poring over old books and talking to the locals, trying to find any mention of a dark presence or a supernatural entity. It was on her third day of research that Emma stumbled upon an old legend about a creature known as the Devourer. According to the legend, the Devourer was an ancient being that fed on people's memories, erasing their past and identity. Emma was skeptical at first, but as she read more about the Devourer, she began to notice strange similarities between the legend and her mother's condition. The memory loss, the confusion, the feeling of being watched, it all seemed to fit. But it was the next part of the legend that really caught Emma's attention. According to the story, the Devourer was not just a mindless monster. It was a creature with a twisted sense of purpose. It fed on memories not just to sustain itself, but to collect and hoard them. The legend said that the Devourer had a vast repository of memories, a twisted library of thoughts and experiences that it used to sustain itself. And Emma couldn't help but wonder, was her mother's memories being stored in that library? As Emma delved deeper into the legend, she began to realize that she was dealing with something much bigger than she had initially thought. The Devourer was not just a monster, it was a force of nature, a creature that had been feeding on memories for centuries, and Emma knew that she had to stop it. But as she looked around her, Emma realized that she was alone in her quest. The locals seemed reluctant to talk about the Devourer, and the authorities seemed skeptical of her claims. Emma was on her own, and she knew that she had to be careful. The Devourer was a creature of legend, but it was also a creature of darkness and shadow. And Emma knew that she was about to enter a world where the lines between reality and myth were blurred. As she walked back to her mother's house, Emma felt a sense of trepidation. She was about to embark on a journey that would take her to the very edges of sanity and beyond. A journey that would force her to confront the darkest corners of her own mind and to face the evil presence that was haunting her mother. And Emma knew that she was ready. As Emma continued to research the Devourer, she began to notice strange occurrences around her. Her mother would forget simple things, like where she put her keys or what she had for breakfast. But it was the bigger things that really worried Emma, her mother's memories of their family's past, of Emma's childhood, of her own life. One day, as Emma was helping her mother get dressed, Claire looked at her with a puzzled expression. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice hesitant. Emma's heart sank. "I'm Emma, Mom," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Your daughter." Claire looked at her, a faint glimmer of recognition in her eyes. "Emma," she repeated. "I'm sorry, dear. I don't remember." Emma felt a surge of fear. This was the first time her mother had forgotten her, the first time she had looked at her, with eyes that were completely blank. As Emma tried to reassure her mother, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The Devourer was real, and it was feeding on her mother's memories. Over the next few days, Emma watched in horror as her mother's memories disappeared, one by one. She forgot her husband, Emma's father. She forgot her childhood, her parents, her siblings. She forgot everything, and Emma knew that she was running out of time. She had to find a way to stop the Devourer before it was too late. As she sat with her mother, watching her struggle to remember even the simplest things, Emma felt a sense of desperation. She was losing her mother, piece by piece, and she didn't know how to stop it. But Emma refused to give up. She was determined to find a way to defeat the Devourer, no matter what it took. And so she began to dig deeper, to research the Devourer and its habits. She talked to locals, to experts, to anyone who might know something about the creature. And then she stumbled upon an ancient ritual, one that was said to repel the Devourer. It was a long shot, but Emma was desperate. She gathered the necessary materials and began to prepare for the ritual. It was a risk, but Emma was willing to try anything to save her mother. As she stood in front of the altar, ready to begin the ritual, Emma felt a sense of trepidation. What if it didn't work? What if the devourer was too powerful? But Emma pushed aside her doubts and began the ritual. She recited the ancient words, lit the candles, and waited. And then she felt it, a presence watching her from the shadows. The devourer. Emma's heart was racing, but she stood her ground. She knew that she had to face the devourer, no matter how terrifying it was. And so, she began to chant, to call out to the devourer. She felt a surge of energy, a sense of power that she had never felt before. The devourer emerged from the shadows, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Emma stood her ground, her heart pounding in her chest, and then everything went black. As Emma regained consciousness, she found herself back in her mother's house, lying on the couch. Her head was throbbing and her mind was foggy, but as she sat up and looked around, she knew that she had to keep moving. She had to find a way to stop the devourer. Emma began to investigate the devourer, poring over ancient texts and talking to locals. She learned that the devourer was an ancient entity, one that had been feeding on memories for centuries. It was a creature of darkness and shadow, and it was almost impossible to defeat. But Emma refused to give up. She was determined to find a way to stop the devourer, no matter what it took. She spent hours researching, poring over ancient texts, and talking to experts. As she delved deeper into her research, Emma began to notice strange occurrences around her. Books would go missing, only to reappear in strange places. Notes would be scribbled in the margins of her texts, notes that seemed to be written in a language she couldn't understand. Emma knew that she was getting close to something. She could feel it. And so, she kept pushing forward, determined to uncover the truth about the devourer. One night, as she was studying in her mother's house, Emma heard a strange noise. It sounded like someone was whispering in her ear, but when she turned to look, there was no one there. The whispering grew, louder, more urgent. Emma felt a chill run down her spine as she realized that the devourer was trying to communicate with her. "What do you want?" Emma asked aloud, her voice shaking slightly. The whispering grew louder, more insistent. Emma felt a presence around her, a presence that seemed to be closing in, and then everything went black. When Emma came to, she was lying on the floor, her head throbbing. The whispering had stopped, but she knew that the devourer was still out there, watching her. Emma knew that she had to be careful. She was playing with forces beyond her control, forces that could destroy her if she wasn't careful. But she refused to back down. She was determined to stop the devourer, no matter what it took, and so she kept moving forward, driven by a fierce determination to uncover the truth about the devourer. As Emma continued her research, she began to hear whispers about an abandoned asylum on the outskirts of Ravenswood. The asylum had been closed for decades, but the locals whispered that it was still haunted by the ghosts of former patients. Emma was skeptical, but she couldn't shake the feeling that the asylum held a key to unlocking the secrets of the devourer. She decided to investigate, sneaking into the abandoned building under the cover of darkness. As she stepped inside, Emma felt a chill run down her spine. The asylum was a labyrinth of crumbling corridors and abandoned wards, the air thick with the scent of decay and rot. Emma began to explore, her flashlight casting eerie shadows on the walls. She stumbled upon old medical records, yellowed with age, and began to scan them, searching for any mention of the devourer. As she delved deeper into the records, Emma discovered a pattern. Patients who had been admitted to the asylum with memory loss or other cognitive disorders had all been treated by the same doctor, a Dr. Malcolm. Emma's curiosity was piqued. Who was Dr. Malcolm, and what had he been doing at the asylum? She decided to dig deeper, searching for any information she could find about the mysterious doctor. As she searched, Emma began to feel a presence around her. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, and the air seemed to grow colder as if the devourer was closing in. Suddenly, Emma heard a faint whispering in her ear. "Get out while you still can." Emma spun around, but there was no one there. The whispering seemed to come from all around her, echoing off the walls. She knew then that she had to leave. The asylum was not a safe place, and Emma had a feeling that she was running out of time. As she turned to flee, Emma caught a glimpse of something out of the corner of her eye. A door, hidden behind a tattered curtain, seemed to be slightly ajar. Emma's curiosity got the better of her. She pushed the door open and stepped inside, and that's when everything went black. As Emma stepped inside the hidden room, she was met with a sight that made her blood run cold. Row upon row of dusty old filing cabinets stretched out before her, each one labeled with a single word: Devourer. Emma's heart was racing as she approached the first cabinet. She pulled out a file at random, blowing off the dust to reveal a patient's medical record. The patient's name was Emily Wilson, and according to the record, she had been admitted to the asylum with severe memory loss. As Emma flipped through the pages, she noticed something strange. Emily's memories seemed to be disappearing at an alarming rate, but it was the last entry in the file that made Emma's heart skip a beat. Patient has been transferred to the care of Dr. Malcolm, it read. Prognosis: poor. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. Who was Dr. Malcolm, and what had he done to Emily Wilson? As she delved deeper into the files, Emma discovered a pattern. Every patient who had been treated by Dr. Malcolm had suffered from severe memory loss, and every one of them had eventually disappeared. It was as if Dr. Malcolm had been experimenting on his patients, using them as test subjects for some twisted purpose. And Emma had a feeling that she knew what that purpose was. The Devourer. Emma's mind was reeling as she tried to process the implications. Dr. Malcolm had been working with the Devourer, using his patients as sacrifices to feed the creature's insatiable hunger. And Emma's mother was next on the list. With a sense of urgency, Emma began to search the files for any mention of her mother's name. She knew that she had to find a way to stop Dr. Malcolm and the Devourer before it was too late. But as she searched, Emma realized that she was not alone. She could feel eyes watching her, boring into her skin, and she knew that she was running out of time. As Emma continued to search the files, she stumbled upon a document that made her heart skip a beat. It was an old newspaper article detailing a tragic event that had occurred in Ravenswood decades ago. The article told the story of a family who had been torn apart by a brutal tragedy. The family's young daughter had gone missing, and her parents had been driven mad by grief. But it was the last paragraph of the article that caught Emma's attention. The family's estate, Ravenswood Manor, has been abandoned ever since. Locals whisper that the house is cursed and that anyone who dares to enter will never leave. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. Ravenswood Manor was the old mansion on the hill, the one that loomed over the town like a ghostly presence. And then it hit her. The connection to Ravenswood. The reason why the Devourer had chosen this town. And this family. It was all about the memories. Ravenswood was a town built on memories. A town where the past and present collided. And the Devourer had been feeding on those memories, growing stronger with each passing day. Emma realized that she had to stop the Devourer before it was too late. She had to find a way to break the curse, to free Ravenswood from the Devourer's grasp. But as she stood up, determined to take action, Emma felt a presence behind her. She turned to see a figure standing in the doorway, watching her. It was Dr. Malcolm. "Welcome, Emma," he said, his voice dripping with malice. "I've been waiting for you." Dr. Malcolm's eyes seemed to bore into Emma's soul as he stepped closer to her. "You're just like your mother," he said, his voice dripping with malice. "Always poking around in things you don't understand." Emma stood her ground, despite the fear that was growing inside her. "What do you mean?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Dr. Malcolm smiled, a cold, calculating smile. "Your family has a secret, Emma," he said. "A secret that's been hidden for generations." Emma's mind was racing as she tried to think of what Dr. Malcolm could be talking about. What secret could her family possibly have that would be of interest to Dr. Malcolm? But before she could ask any questions, Dr. Malcolm turned and walked away, leaving Emma feeling frustrated and confused. As she watched him go, Emma realized that she had to know more. She had to uncover the family secret that Dr. Malcolm had hinted at. She began to search the files and documents that she had found in the hidden room, looking for any mention of a family secret. And then, just as she was about to give up, she stumbled upon an old diary that belonged to her great-grandmother. As she flipped through the pages, Emma discovered a shocking truth. Her family had been hiding a dark secret for generations, a secret that was connected to the devourer. Emma's mind was reeling as she tried to process the information. She had always thought of her family as normal, but now she realized that they had been living a lie. And then, just as she was about to read more, Emma heard a noise behind her. She turned to see her mother standing in the doorway, a look of confusion on her face. "Emma, who are you?" her mother asked, her voice shaking. Emma's heart sank as she realized that her mother had forgotten her again. She took a deep breath and tried to reassure her mother, but she knew that she had to find a way to stop the devourer before it was too late. The family secret that Emma had uncovered had given her a clue, but she knew that she had to be careful. Dr. Malcolm was still out there, and Emma had a feeling that he would stop at nothing to keep the truth hidden. As Emma tried to reassure her mother, she couldn't help but feel a sense of despair. Her mother's memories were fading fast, and Emma knew that she had to find a way to stop the devourer before it was too late. She took her mother's hand and led her to the living room, where she had set up a series of photographs and mementos from their family's past. Emma hoped that these memories would spark something in her mother's mind and help her to remember. As they sat down on the couch, Emma began to point out different photographs, telling her mother stories about each one. She showed her pictures of her grandparents, of her parents' wedding day, and of her own childhood. At first, Emma's mother seemed confused, unsure of what was happening. But as Emma continued to talk, she began to see a glimmer of recognition in her mother's eyes. "Emma?" her mother said, her voice hesitant. Is that me?" Emma's heart leapt with excitement as she realized that her mother was starting to remember. "Yes, Mom," she said, taking her mother's hand. "That's you. You're holding me in that picture." Her mother's eyes filled with tears as she looked at the photograph. "I remember," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I remember holding you, Emma." Emma felt a surge of hope as she realized that her mother's memories were still there, buried deep beneath the surface. She knew that she had to keep trying, to find a way to unlock her mother's memories and stop the devourer once and for all. But as she looked into her mother's eyes, Emma saw something that made her heart skip a beat. A flicker of fear, a glimmer of uncertainty. "What's wrong, Mom?" Emma asked, her voice gentle. Her mother's eyes locked onto hers, and Emma saw a flash of recognition. "The devourer," her mother whispered. "It's coming for us." Emma's heart was racing as she realized that her mother was trying to tell her something. But what? And then, just as she was about to ask another question, Emma heard a strange noise outside. It sounded like footsteps, heavy and deliberate. Emma's heart sank as she realized that they were not alone. The devourer was coming, just as her mother had warned, and Emma knew that she had to be ready. As the footsteps grew louder, Emma knew she had to act fast. She quickly grabbed her mother's hand and pulled her towards the back door. "Come on, Mom," Emma said, trying to keep her voice steady. "We have to get out of here." But as they reached the door, Emma realized that it was locked. She frantically searched for the key, but it was nowhere to be found. The footsteps were getting closer and closer, and Emma could feel the Devourer's presence closing in around them. "Mom, I need you to remember something," Emma said. Desperation creeping into her voice. "Where did we put the spare key?" Her mother looked at her, confusion etched on her face. I don't know, Emma." Emma's heart sank. They were running out of time. Just as she was about to give up hope, Emma's mother suddenly spoke up. "The garden," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "We hid the key in the garden." Emma's heart leapt with excitement. She quickly pulled her mother towards the garden, praying that the key would still be there. As they reached the garden, Emma began to frantically search for the key. Her mother stood beside her, her eyes fixed on the ground, and then, just as Emma was about to give up hope, she saw it. The key was buried beneath a small rock, just as her mother had said. Emma quickly grabbed the key and unlocked the door. As they stepped outside, Emma could feel the Devourer's presence closing in around them. But she didn't look back. She just kept running, pulling her mother along behind her. They ran through the streets, dodging pedestrians and cars. Emma didn't know where they were going, but she knew they had to keep moving. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the outskirts of town. Emma pulled her mother into a nearby alleyway where they collapsed against the wall, gasping for breath. As they caught their breath, Emma realized that they couldn't stay there for long. The Devourer would find them eventually, but for now, they were safe. And Emma was determined to keep it that way. She looked over at her mother, who was watching her with a mixture of fear and determination. "We'll get through this, Mom," Emma said, trying to sound braver than she felt. "We'll find a way to stop the Devourer and get your memories back." Her mother nodded, a small smile on her face. "I know we will, Emma," she said. "I know we will." As Emma and her mother caught their breath in the alleyway, Emma suddenly remembered the hidden diary she had found in the abandoned asylum. She had been so focused on escaping the Devourer that she had forgotten all about it. "Mom, I need to show you something," Emma said, pulling out the diary from her bag. Her mother looked at her curiously as Emma began to flip through the pages. The diary belonged to a young girl named Sarah, who had been a patient at the asylum decades ago. Emma read through the diary. She discovered that Sarah had been experiencing strange memory loss, just like her mother. But Sarah had also written about something else, a dark presence that lurked in the shadows, watching her. Emma's heart skipped a beat as she realized that Sarah had been writing about the Devourer. "Mom, look at this," Emma said, pointing to a passage in the diary. Her mother leaned in, her eyes scanning the page. And then, suddenly, she gasped. "What is it, Mom?" Emma asked, alarm rising in her voice. Her mother looked up, her eyes wide with fear. "I remember," she whispered. "I remember what happened to me." Emma's heart leapt with excitement. "What do you remember, Mom?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Her mother took a deep breath, her eyes locked on Emma's. "I remember the night I was taken," she said. "I remember the Devourer." Emma felt a chill run down her spine. Her mother was remembering, and that meant they were one step closer to stopping the Devourer. But as they stood there, frozen in the alleyway, Emma realized that they were not alone. The Devourer was watching them, waiting for its next move, and Emma knew that they had to keep moving, to stay one step ahead of the Devourer. "Come on, Mom," Emma said, taking her mother's hand. "We have to get out of here." As they ran through the streets, Emma knew that they were running out of time. The devourer was closing in, and they had to find a way to stop it before it was too late. As Emma and her mother ran through the streets, they knew they had to come up with a plan to stop the devourer. They couldn't keep running forever. "We need to get to the bottom of this," Emma said, her mind racing. "We need to find out why the devourer is after us." Her mother nodded, her eyes determined. "I think I know why," she said. "I remember something. A ritual. A way to stop the devourer." Emma's heart leapt with excitement. "What is it, Mom?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Her mother took a deep breath. "We need to gather 3 ancient artifacts," she said. "A book, a key, and a crystal. They're the only things that can stop the devourer." Emma's eyes widened. "Where are they?" she asked. Her mother shook her head. "I don't know," she said, "but I think I know someone who might." Emma's heart was racing. They had a plan, but it was desperate. They had to find the artifacts before the devourer found them. As they ran through the streets, Emma knew that they were taking a huge risk, but they had no choice. They had to stop the devourer, no matter what it took. They finally reached the person her mother had mentioned, an old antique dealer who lived on the outskirts of town. The dealer, an old man with a kind face, listened as Emma's mother explained their situation. "I think I can help you," he said, his eyes twinkling, "but it won't be easy." Emma's heart sank. What did he mean? The dealer smiled. "The artifacts you're looking for are hidden in 3 different locations around town," he said, "and they're guarded by powerful entities." Emma's eyes widened. This was getting more and more complicated by the minute, but she knew they had no choice. They had to find the artifacts and stop the devourer. "Let's do it," Emma said, her voice firm. Her mother nodded, her eyes determined, and with that, they set off on their quest to find the artifacts and save their town from the devourer. As they set off on their quest, Emma's mother explained that the first artifact, the book, was hidden in an old library on the outskirts of town. The library is said to be haunted by the ghost of a former librarian, her mother said, her eyes serious. "But we have to be brave if we're going to stop the devourer." Emma steeled herself and nodded. She was ready to face whatever lay ahead. As they approached the library, Emma felt a chill run down her spine. The building loomed above them, its windows like empty eyes staring back. They pushed open the creaky door and stepped inside. The library was dimly lit, the air thick with dust. Emma's mother led the way, navigating through the shelves of old books. They finally reached a section that seemed to be hidden away, the books chained to the shelves. "This is it," her mother said, her eyes locked on a large leather-bound book. "This is the book we need." But as Emma reached out to take the book, a ghostly figure materialized in front of them. "Who dares to disturb the rest of the library?" the ghost demanded, its voice like a cold wind. Emma's mother stood tall, her eyes flashing with determination. "We're here to stop the devourer," she said, "and we need that book." The ghost regarded them for a moment, then nodded its head. "Very well," it said. "Take the book, but be warned. The devourer will not give up easily." Emma's heart was racing as she took the book. She felt a surge of power run through her, as if the book was imbuing her with its own strength. They left the library, the book clutched tightly in Emma's arms. They knew that they still had 2 more artifacts to find, but they also knew that they were one step closer to stopping the devourer. As they walked away from the library, Emma felt a sense of hope rising up inside her. They could do this. They could stop the devourer and save their town. But as they turned the corner, Emma saw something that made her heart sink. A figure was waiting for them, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. The devourer had found them. As the devourer loomed before them, Emma's mother stood tall, her eyes flashing with determination. "We won't back down," she said, her voice firm. But Emma knew they couldn't defeat the devourer in a straight fight. They needed to get the second artifact, the key, and fast. She quickly scanned their surroundings, her eyes locking onto a nearby antique shop. "In there," she said, grabbing her mother's hand. They dashed into the shop, the devourer mere steps behind. Emma's heart was racing as she frantically searched the shelves for any sign of the key. And then, just as the devourer was about to burst into the shop, Emma spotted it. The key was hidden in a small, intricately carved box. She grabbed the box and ripped it open, the key glinting in the dim light. Emma's mother took the key, a look of determination on her face. "We have to get to the third artifact," she said, her voice firm. "The crystal." But as they turned to leave, Emma saw the devourer, standing in the doorway, its eyes blazing with fury. "You'll never leave this place alive," it hissed, its voice like a cold wind. Emma's heart sank. They were trapped. But her mother stood tall, the key clutched in her hand. "We'll see about that," she said, a fierce glint in her eye. And with that, she charged forward, the key flashing in the dim light. Emma followed close behind, her heart pounding in her chest. They fought their way past the devourer, the key and the book giving them the strength they needed to overcome its dark powers. As they emerged from the shop, gasping for air, Emma knew they had to keep moving. They still had to find the crystal, and they were running out of time. But she also knew they couldn't do it alone. They needed help, and they needed it fast. "Mom, we have to find someone to trust," Emma said, her voice urgent. "Someone who can help us defeat the devourer once and for all." Her mother nodded, her eyes scanning the crowded streets. "I think I know just the person," she said, a small smile on her face. And with that, they set off into the unknown, determined to find the crystal and defeat the devourer once and for all. As Emma and her mother navigated the crowded streets, they finally reached the small cafe where her mother had arranged to meet their mysterious ally. The cafe was cozy, with dim lighting and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafting through the air. Emma's mother spotted their ally sitting in the corner, a hood pulled over their head. "Who is that?" Emma whispered, her eyes fixed on the mysterious figure. Her mother smiled. "Someone who has been fighting the devourer for years," she said. "Someone who can help us defeat it once and for all." As they approached the table, the figure pushed back its hood, revealing a shocking identity. It was Dr. Lee, the same doctor who had been treating Emma's mother. But as Emma looked into Dr. Lee's eyes, she saw something there that she hadn't seen before. A fierce determination, a burning desire to defeat the devourer. "Why are you helping us?" Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Lee's eyes locked onto hers. "Because I've seen what the devourer can do," she said. "I've seen it destroy lives, erase memories, and I've had enough." Emma's mother nodded, a small smile on her face. "We can trust her, Emma," she said. "She's been working to stop the devourer for years." As they sat down at the table, Dr. Lee began to explain her plan. "We need to get to the crystal," she said. "It's the only way to defeat the devourer." But as they discussed their plan, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. She glanced around the cafe, but saw nothing out of the ordinary. Still, the feeling persisted, and Emma knew that they had to be careful. The devourer was still out there, waiting for its next victim. As they finished their coffee and prepared to leave, Emma felt a sense of trepidation. They were getting close to the crystal, but they still had to face the devourer, and Emma knew that their final battle was just around the corner. As they left the cafe, Dr. Lee led them through the winding streets of Ravenswood, finally stopping at a small, unassuming entrance hidden behind a waterfall. "This is it," Dr. Lee said, her eyes shining with excitement. "The hidden temple where the crystal is kept." Emma's heart was racing as she followed Dr. Lee and her mother through the entrance, finding themselves in a narrow, dimly lit tunnel. The air was thick with the scent of incense and something else, something sweet and florals. They made their way deeper into the tunnel. Emma began to feel a strange energy building up inside her. It was as if the temple itself was awakening, responding to their presence. Finally, they emerged into a vast, cavernous space filled with glittering crystals and strange, ancient artifacts. At the far end of the room, on a pedestal of black stone, lay the crystal they had been searching for. But as they approached the pedestal, Emma felt a sudden jolt of fear. Something was watching them, lurking just out of sight, and then, without warning, the devourer emerged from the shadows, its eyes blazing with an otherworldly hunger. "You fools," it hissed, its voice like a cold wind. "You think you can defeat me? I have the power of the memories on my side." Emma stood tall, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew that this was it, their final battle. But as she looked at her mother and Dr. Lee, she knew that they were not alone. They had each other, and together they could face anything. "Let's do this," Emma said, her voice firm. And with that, the battle began. The air was electric with tension as Emma, her mother, and Dr. Lee faced off against the devourer. "You're a monster," Emma spat, her eyes blazing with anger. The devourer laughed, its voice like a cold wind. "I am what you made me," it hissed. "I am the sum of your darkest fears." Emma's mother stepped forward, her eyes flashing with determination. "We won't let you win," she said. "We won't let you take our memories." The devourer sneered, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. "You can't stop me," it said. "I have the power of the memories on my side." Dr. Lee stepped forward, a small smile on her face. "We have something you don't," she said. "We have each other." And with that, the battle began. Emma, her mother, and Dr. Lee fought with all their might, using every trick in the book to try and defeat the devourer. But the devourer was relentless, using its powers to manipulate their memories and turn them against each other. Emma's mother was consumed by a false memory of Emma's childhood, one that made her question her own identity. Dr. Lee was haunted by a dark secret from her past, one that threatened to destroy her very soul. And Emma was faced with a terrible choice: save her mother or save the town. As the battle raged on, Emma knew that she had to make a decision. She couldn't save everyone. But then, something inside her clicked. She remembered the words of her mother, the words that had given her the strength to keep going. "We're in this together," Emma said, her voice firm, and with that, the tide of the battle turned. Emma, her mother, and Dr. Lee fought as one, using their combined strength to defeat the devourer. As the creature let out a deafening scream, Emma felt a surge of energy run through her. She knew that they had won. The devourer dissipated into nothingness, its dark powers banished from the town forever. As the dust settled, Emma turned to her mother and Dr. Lee, a smile on her face. "We did it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Her mother smiled back, tears of joy streaming down her face. "We sure did," she said. Dr. Lee nodded, a small smile on her face. "We make a pretty good team," she said. And as they hugged each other tightly, Emma knew that she had found something truly special. She had found a family that would stand by her no matter what. As they walked out of the temple, blinking in the bright sunlight, Emma knew that she would never forget this moment. She had saved her mother, saved the town, and found a new family in the process. And as they made their way back to Ravenswood, Emma knew that she would always cherish the memories of this day. She had fought against the darkness, and emerged victorious. The town of Ravenswood was safe once again thanks to Emma and her newfound family. You're deep into the story now, and the horrors are only escalating. If you're still with us, don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell us where you're listening from in the comments. Who else is staying up late to face this nightmare? Settle in. The terror continues. As they walked back to Ravenswood, Emma felt a sense of pride and accomplishment wash over her. They had done it. They had saved the town. But as they entered the town, Emma was struck by the devastation that surrounded her. Buildings were destroyed. Trees were uprooted, and debris littered the streets. The townspeople were emerging from their homes, looking around in shock and awe. Some were crying, others were screaming, and a few were just standing there, frozen in shock. Emma's mother went to comfort the townspeople, while Dr. Lee began to tend to the wounded. Emma stood there, unsure of what to do, and then she saw him. A figure standing on the outskirts of town, watching her. It was the boy from the asylum, the one who had helped her escape. He smiled at her, and Emma felt a sense of relief wash over her. She had thought she would never see him again. As he approached Emma realized that she didn't even know his name. "I'm Max," he said, as if reading her mind. Emma smiled, feeling a sense of connection to this mysterious boy. As they stood there watching the town begin to rebuild, Emma knew that she had found a new friend, a new ally. And as they walked together, Emma realized that she had found something more. She had found a new beginning. The town of Ravenswood would never be the same again, but Emma knew that it would be okay. They would rebuild, they would recover, and they would move on. And Emma would be there, every step of the way, with Max by her side. As they walked off into the sunset, Emma knew that she had finally found what she had been searching for all along. She had found a home. And as they disappeared into the distance, the town of Ravenswood began to heal. The memories of the past began to fade, replaced by new ones, better ones. The town would never forget the terror of the devourer, but they would learn to live with it. They would learn to move on. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the town in a warm golden light, Emma knew that she had finally found peace. She had found a new family, a new home, and a new beginning. And as she smiled, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face, Emma knew that she would never let go of this feeling again. As the days passed, Ravenswood began to flourish once again. The townspeople worked together to rebuild their homes and their lives. Emma, Max, and her mother were at the forefront of the rebuilding efforts. They worked tirelessly to help the townspeople, and Emma finally felt like she had found her place in the world. Dr. Lee, who had become like a mentor to Emma, continued to help the townspeople overcome their memories of the devourer. She worked closely with Emma's mother, who was finally starting to regain her memories. As the town began to heal, Emma and Max grew closer. They spent their days exploring the town, laughing together and just enjoying each other's company. One day, as they were walking through the town, Max turned to Emma and smiled. "I'm glad we met," he said, his eyes shining with sincerity. Emma's heart skipped a beat. "Me too," she replied, smiling back at him. As they stood there looking into each other's eyes, Emma knew that she had found something special. She had found a friend, a confidant, and maybe even something more. The town of Ravenswood was finally at peace, and Emma had found her own happy ending. She had found a new family, a new home, and a new beginning. As the sun set over Ravenswood, casting a warm, golden light over the town, Emma smiled. She knew that she would always cherish this moment, this feeling of peace and happiness. And as she walked off into the sunset with Max by her side, Emma knew that she would never look back. She would never forget the terror of the devourer, but she would never let it define her. She was Emma, a strong, brave, and determined young woman, and she was ready to face whatever the future held. Years went by, and Ravenswood continued to thrive. Emma and Max grew up together, their bond strengthening with each passing day. Emma's mother fully regained her memories, and she became a leading figure in the town's efforts to rebuild and heal. Dr. Lee continued to work with the townspeople, helping them to overcome their traumatic experiences. As for Emma, she became determined to ensure that the horrors of the Devourer would never be forgotten. She began to write a book about her experiences, about the terror and the triumph. The book became a bestseller, and Emma became a renowned author. But more importantly, she had ensured that the legacy of Ravenswood would live on. The town became a symbol of hope and resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a way forward. And Emma, Max, and the people of Ravenswood continued to thrive, their bond stronger than ever. One day, as Emma sat in her office, surrounded by memories of her journey, she received a package in the mail. Inside, she found a small, intricately carved box. As she opened the box, she found a note that read, "For Emma, the bravest girl in Ravenswood." Tears of joy streaming down her face, Emma realized that the note was from her mother, who had passed away a few years prior. The box was her mother's final gift to her, a reminder of the love and strength that had carried her through the darkest of times. As Emma held the box close to her heart, she knew that she would always cherish the legacy of Ravenswood and the memories of those who had fought alongside her. The legacy of Ravenswood lives on. Decades passed and Ravenswood continued to flourish. Emma's book became a classic, inspiring generations to come. Emma and Max got married, had children, and grew old together. They passed on their story to their kids and grandkids, ensuring that the legacy of Ravenswood lived on. One day, Emma's granddaughter, a bright and curious girl named Ava, approached her with a question. "Grandma Emma, what was it like to face the Devourer?" Ava asked, her eyes wide with wonder. Emma smiled, taking Ava's hand in hers. "It was scary, but I wasn't alone," she said. "I had my mom, Dr. Lee, and Max. We faced it together." Ava's eyes sparkled with excitement. "I want to be brave like you, Grandma," she said. Emma's heart swelled with pride. "You are brave, Ava," she said. "You're a part of the Ravenswood legacy." As Emma looked at Ava, she knew that the future was bright. The new generation was ready to carry on the legacy of Ravenswood, to face their own challenges and triumphs. And as Emma smiled, surrounded by her loved ones, she knew that she could finally rest easy. The story of Ravenswood was in good hands. The legacy continues. As the years went by, Ravenswood continued to thrive, and the legend of Emma's bravery lived on. The town became a symbol of hope and resilience, inspiring generations to come. Ava grew up, hearing stories of her grandmother's bravery and the legacy of Ravenswood. She became a historian, dedicated to preserving the town's history and ensuring that the lessons of the past were never forgotten. One day, Ava received a package containing an old leather-bound book. As she opened it, she discovered that it was Emma's original journal, detailing her experiences with the Devourer. Tears of joy streaming down her face, Ava knew that she had been given a precious gift. She spent hours poring over the journal, learning more about her grandmother's bravery and the history of Ravenswood. As she read, Ava realized that the legacy of Ravenswood was timeless. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope, always a way forward. Ava's heart swelled with pride as she closed the journal. She knew that she would continue to preserve the legacy of Ravenswood, ensuring that the story of Emma's bravery would never be forgotten. And as she looked out at the town, Ava knew that the future was bright. The legacy of Ravenswood would continue to inspire generations to come, a reminder of the power of courage, hope, and resilience. The legacy of Ravenswood lives on forever. As Ava continued to preserve the legacy of Ravenswood, she began to realize that the bond between her grandmother, Emma, and the town was eternal. She spent countless hours researching, interviewing the townspeople, and uncovering new stories about Emma's bravery. One day, while exploring the town's archives, Ava stumbled upon an old, mysterious-looking key. As she turned it over in her hand, she felt an inexplicable connection to her grandmother. Suddenly, visions of Emma's past flooded Ava's mind. She saw Emma as a young girl facing the devourer, and she saw the bravery and determination that had defined her grandmother's life. Tears streaming down her face, Ava knew that she had been given a precious gift. She had been given the chance to connect with her grandmother on a deeper level, to understand the eternal bond that existed between Emma and the town of Ravenswood. As Ava looked out at the town, she knew that she would continue to honor her grandmother's legacy. She would continue to preserve the stories, the memories, and the bravery that had defined Emma's life. And as she smiled, feeling the eternal bond between her grandmother and the town, Ava knew that she would always be connected to Ravenswood, to the people, and to the legacy of bravery and hope that had inspired generations. The eternal bond between Ravenswood and Emma lives on forever. Years went by, and Ava continued to preserve the legacy of Ravenswood. She wrote books, gave lectures, and created a museum dedicated to the town's history. As she grew older, Ava knew that it was time to pass on the torch. She called upon her own granddaughter, a bright and curious girl named Lily. Lily was fascinated by the stories of Ravenswood and Emma's bravery. She spent hours listening to Ava's tales, asking questions, and learning about the town's history. Ava smiled, seeing the same spark in Lily that she had once seen in herself. She knew that the legacy of Ravenswood was in good hands. As Lily grew older, she became increasingly involved in preserving the town's history. She worked with Ava to create new exhibits, write new books, and share the story of Ravenswood with the world. Together, Ava and Lily ensured that the legacy of Ravenswood lived on. They kept the memory of Emma's bravery alive, inspiring future generations to stand up against darkness and fear. And as they stood together looking out at the town, Ava knew that she had fulfilled her promise. She had kept the legacy of Ravenswood alive, and she had passed it on to the next generation. The legacy of Ravenswood lives on through the ages. As the years went by, Lily grew up to be a renowned historian, just like her grandmother Ava. She traveled the world, sharing the story of Ravenswood and Emma's bravery with people from all walks of life. One day, Lily received an invitation to speak at a prestigious conference, where scholars and historians from around the world would gather to discuss the importance of preserving cultural heritage. Lily was honored to be a part of the conference and spent weeks preparing her speech. She poured her heart and soul into it, making sure that the message of Ravenswood would resonate with the audience. Finally, the day of the conference arrived. Lily took the stage, her voice ringing out across the auditorium as she began to speak. The story of Ravenswood is more than just a tale of bravery and sacrifice, she said. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. It's a testament to the human spirit, which can overcome even the most daunting challenges. The audience was captivated by Lily's words, hanging on every sentence as she spoke about the importance of preserving cultural heritage and the timeless message of Ravenswood. As she finished her speech, the audience erupted into applause, cheering, and whistling for more. Lily smiled, feeling proud to have carried on the legacy of her grandmother and great-grandmother. And as she looked out at the sea of faces, Lily knew that the message of Ravenswood would live on, inspiring future generations to stand up against darkness and fear, and to never give up hope. The timeless message of Ravenswood continues to inspire. As Lily stepped off the stage, she was met with a standing ovation. The audience cheered and whistled, congratulating her on a speech that would be remembered for years to come. As she made her way through the crowd, shaking hands and accepting congratulations, Lily felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. She had carried on the legacy of her grandmother and great-grandmother, ensuring that the story of Ravenswood would live on. And then she saw him, a young boy, no more than 10 years old, with a look of wonder in his eyes. He was holding a small notebook and pencil, and he looked up at Lily with a sense of awe. "Are you the one who told the story of Ravenswood?" he asked, his voice full of excitement. Lily smiled, kneeling down to talk to the boy. "Yes, I am," she said. "What did you think of the story?" The boy's eyes lit up. "It was amazing," he said. "I want to be just like Emma when I grow up." Lily's heart swelled with pride. She saw herself in the boy, saw the same sense of wonder and curiosity that had driven her to preserve the legacy of Ravenswood. And in that moment, Lily knew that the circle of life was complete. The story of Ravenswood would live on, inspiring future generations to stand up against darkness and fear, and to never give up hope. As she stood up, smiling at the boy, Lily knew that she had fulfilled her purpose. She had carried on the legacy of her grandmother and great-grandmother, and she had passed it on to the next generation. The circle of life is complete. The legacy of Ravenswood lives on. As the years went by, Lily continued to share the story of Ravenswood with the world. She wrote books, gave lectures, and created a legacy that would be remembered for generations to come. And then, one day, Lily's time on this earth came to a nigh end. She passed away peacefully, surrounded by her loved ones, and the story of Ravenswood was left to the next generation. But the legacy of Ravenswood did not end with Lily's passing. The story continued to inspire and captivate people around the world. Ava's great-great-granddaughter, a young girl named Sophia, grew up hearing the stories of Ravenswood and Emma's bravery. She was fascinated by the tale and spent hours poring over the books and documents that Lily had left behind. As Sophia grew older, she became increasingly passionate about preserving the legacy of Ravenswood. She spent years researching and writing, determined to keep the story alive. And then one day, Sophia stumbled upon an old, mysterious-looking box in the attic of her family's ancestral home. As she opened it, she found a note that read, "To whoever finds this, I leave you the legacy of Ravenswood. Keep the story alive, and never forget the bravery and sacrifice of those who came before us." Sophia smiled, knowing that she had been given a precious gift. She vowed to continue the legacy of Ravenswood, to keep the story alive for generations to come. And so, the story of Ravenswood comes full circle. From Emma to Lily to Sophia, the legacy has been passed down through the generations, inspiring and captivating people around the world. Sophia spent the next few years studying the contents of the box, learning more about the history of Ravenswood and the bravery of Emma. She became increasingly passionate about preserving the legacy, determined to keep the story alive. As Sophia delved deeper into the history of Ravenswood, she began to uncover new secrets and stories. She discovered hidden diaries, old letters, and forgotten photographs, each one shedding new light on the town's past. With each new discovery, Sophia felt a sense of connection to Emma and the other women who had come before her. She realized that she was part of a long line of strong, brave women who had fought to preserve the legacy of Ravenswood. Sophia's research and discoveries sparked a new wave of interest in Ravenswood, with people from all over the world flocking to the town to learn more about its history. The town flourished, with new businesses and attractions springing up to cater to the influx of visitors. Sophia's family home was turned into a museum, with exhibits showcasing the history of Ravenswood and the bravery of Emma. And Sophia, now a respected historian and preservationist, stood at the forefront of it all, ensuring that the legacy of
Ravenswood continued to inspire and captivate people for generations to come. The legacy of Ravenswood continues.
As the years passed, Ravenswood continued to thrive. The town became a beacon for historians, researchers, and anyone fascinated by the supernatural. Sophia's museum became a hub for paranormal activity, with visitors reporting strange occurrences and sightings. The town's reputation as a hotspot for ghostly activity only added to its allure. But Sophia's work didn't stop there. She continued to research and write, publishing books and papers on the history of Ravenswood and the supernatural. Her work sparked a new wave of interest in the paranormal, with researchers and investigators flocking to Ravenswood to explore its mysteries. The town's economy flourished, with new businesses and attractions springing up to cater to the influx of visitors. And Sophia, now a leading expert in the field of paranormal research, stood at the forefront of it all, guiding and advising those who sought to uncover the secrets of Ravenswood. As the town's reputation continued to grow, Sophia knew that she had to be careful. She didn't want Ravenswood to become a circus, with thrill seekers and ghost hunters descending upon the town. But she also knew that the town's history and mysteries were too important to be ignored. She wanted to share Ravenswood's story with the world, while also protecting its integrity. It was a delicate balance, but Sophia was determined to get it right. She worked tirelessly to promote Ravenswood's history and mysteries, while also ensuring that the town remained a place of respect and reverence. And as the years went by, Ravenswood continued to thrive. The town became a place of pilgrimage for those seeking answers to life's greatest mysteries. The Ravenswood revival continues. As Sophia grew older, she began to think about the future of Ravenswood. She knew that she couldn't keep the town's history and mysteries alive on her own forever. So she started to look for a new generation of researchers, investigators, and preservationists to carry on her work. Sophia found a young woman named Emily who shared her passion for history, mystery, and the supernatural. Emily was fascinated by Ravenswood's story and was eager to learn more. Sophia took Emily under her wing, teaching her everything she knew about Ravenswood's history, its mysteries, and the supernatural. As Emily learned more, she began to contribute her own research and insights to Sophia's work. Together, they uncovered new secrets and stories about Ravenswood. Sophia knew that she had found the perfect person to carry on her legacy. Emily was smart, resourceful, and passionate about Ravenswood's story. As Sophia slowly began to pass on the torch to Emily, she knew that the future of Ravenswood was in good hands. Emily would continue to preserve the town's history and mysteries, ensuring that the story of Ravenswood would live on for generations to come. And Sophia, knowing that her life's work was secure, could finally rest easy. She had found a worthy successor to carry on her legacy. The new generation takes the reins. As the years went by, Emily became a leading expert on Ravenswood's history and mysteries. She continued Sophia's work, uncovering new secrets and stories about the town. Emily's research and writing sparked a new wave of interest in Ravenswood, with people from all over the world flocking to the town to learn more about its history and mysteries. The town's economy flourished, with new businesses and attractions springing up to cater to the influx of visitors. And Emily, now a renowned historian and preservationist, stood at the forefront of it all, ensuring that the legacy of Ravenswood continued to inspire and captivate people for generations to come. One day, Emily received a package in the mail. Inside, she found a small, leather-bound book. As she opened it, she discovered that it was Sophia's journal, filled with notes and insights about Ravenswood's history and mysteries. Tears of joy streaming down her face, Emily knew that she had been given a precious gift. She vowed to continue Sophia's work, to keep the legacy of Ravenswood alive for generations to come. And as she looked out at the town, Emily knew that she was part of something much bigger than herself. She was part
of a long line of women who had dedicated their lives to preserving the legacy of Ravenswood. The legacy of Ravenswood endures.
As Emily delved deeper into Sophia's journal, she discovered a hidden message that read, "The legacy of Ravenswood is not just a story, but a testament to the human spirit. It is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope." Emily's eyes welled up with tears as she realized the true significance of Ravenswood's legacy. It was a legacy that transcended time and generations, a legacy that spoke to the very heart of humanity. And as she looked out at the town, Emily knew that she was not just preserving a historical legacy, but a living, breathing testament to the power of hope and resilience. Years went by and Emily continued to preserve the legacy of Ravenswood. She wrote books, gave lectures, and inspired a new generation of researchers and preservationists. And as she grew older, Emily passed on the torch to a new generation, ensuring that the legacy of Ravenswood would live on forever. The town of Ravenswood remained a beacon of hope, a reminder to all who visited of the transformative power of courage, sacrifice, and determination. And as the years turned into decades, and the decades turned into centuries, the legacy of Ravenswood continued to inspire, to captivate, and to transform all who encountered it. The eternal legacy of Ravenswood lives on, forever. As the centuries passed, the legacy of Ravenswood continued to thrive. The town remained a place of pilgrimage for those seeking inspiration, guidance, and hope. Generations of researchers, preservationists, and historians worked tirelessly to preserve the town's history and mysteries. They uncovered new secrets, discovered hidden artifacts, and shared the story of Ravenswood with the world. And as the world changed around it, Ravenswood remained a constant, a beacon of hope and resilience in the face of adversity. One day, a young girl named Ava visited Ravenswood with her family. As she walked through the town streets, she felt a strange connection to the place. Ava spent hours exploring Ravenswood, talking to the townspeople and learning about its history. And as she delved deeper into the town's mysteries, she began to realize that she had a special role to play in preserving the legacy of Ravenswood. Ava's eyes sparkled with excitement as she discovered a hidden room deep in the town's archives. Inside, she found a series of ancient journals, each one filled with secrets and stories about Ravenswood. As Ava began to read the journals, she knew that she had stumbled upon something incredible. She had discovered a new chapter in the story of Ravenswood, one that would change her life forever. And as Ava looked out at the town, she knew that she was ready to take on the challenge. She was ready to preserve the legacy of Ravenswood, to share its secrets and stories with the world. The legacy of Ravenswood lives on through Ava. Ava spent the next few weeks devouring the journals, learning more about Ravenswood's history and mysteries. She discovered hidden passageways, secret societies, and ancient rituals that had been hidden for centuries. As Ava delved deeper into the journals, she began to realize that she had stumbled upon something much bigger than herself. She had discovered a new chapter in the story of Ravenswood, one that would change the course of history. Ava knew that she had to share her discovery with the world. She spent the next few months writing a book, detailing her findings and shedding new light on Ravenswood's mysteries. The book became a bestseller, with people from all over the world clamoring to learn more about Ravenswood's secrets. Ava became a renowned expert on the town's history, and she was hailed as a hero for uncovering the truth. But Ava knew that she couldn't have done it alone. She owed a debt of gratitude to the women who had come before her, the women who had preserved the legacy of Ravenswood for generations. Ava made it her mission to honor those women, to keep their memories alive and to continue their work. She established a foundation dedicated to preserving Ravenswood's history and promoting education and research. And as Ava looked out at the town, she knew that she had found her true calling. She was a guardian of Ravenswood's legacy, a keeper of its secrets and stories. The new chapter in the story of Ravenswood has begun. Ava's foundation flourished, attracting scholars and researchers from around the world. Together, they uncovered new secrets and stories about Ravenswood, shedding light on the town's mysterious past. As Ava delved deeper into the town's history, she began to realize that she was part of a long line of guardians, women who had protected and preserved Ravenswood's legacy for generations. Ava felt a sense of pride and responsibility, knowing that she was carrying on the tradition of the Guardians. She worked tirelessly to promote the Foundation's mission, inspiring a new generation of researchers and scholars. Years went by, and Ava became a respected figure in the academic community. Her work on Ravenswood's history was unparalleled, and her foundation had become a beacon for those seeking knowledge and understanding. One day, Ava received a mysterious package in the mail. Inside, she found an ancient journal, bound in leather and adorned with strange symbols. As Ava opened the journal, she discovered that it was the diary of one of the original Guardians, a woman who had lived in Ravenswood centuries ago and had played a crucial role in shaping the town's history. Ava spent hours poring over the journal, learning more about the Guardians and their role in preserving Ravenswood's legacy. She discovered that the Guardians had been more than just protectors of the town's history. They had been the keepers of its secrets. As Ava delved deeper into the journal, she began to realize that she was part of something much bigger than herself. She was part of a legacy that stretched back centuries, a legacy of Guardians who had protected and preserved Ravenswood's secrets. The legacy of the Guardians lives on. You're deep into the story now, and the horrors are only escalating. If you're still with us, don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell us where you're listening from in the comments. Who else is staying up late to face this nightmare? Settle in. The terror continues. Ava sat in her office, surrounded by stacks of books and papers. She stared blankly at the wall, her mind still reeling from the events of the past few months. The discovery of the ancient journals had sent shockwaves through the academic community. Scholars and researchers from around the world had flocked to Ravenswood, eager to learn more about the town's mysterious past. Ava's foundation had been at the center of it all, providing resources and support to the researchers. But as the excitement had died down, Ava had been left to deal with the aftermath. She had always known that the discovery would be big, but she had never anticipated just how big. The attention had been overwhelming, with reporters and camera. Crews descending upon Ravenswood. Ava had tried to keep a low profile, but it had been impossible. She had been hailed as a hero, a pioneer in the field of historical research. But as she sat in her office, surrounded by the trappings of her success, Ava couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. She had uncovered a piece of Ravenswood's history, but she knew that there was still so much more to discover. And then, just as she was starting to feel like she was getting back to normal, Ava received a mysterious package in the mail. Inside, she found a cryptic message that read, "The truth is hidden in plain sight. Look again at the journals, and you will find the key to unlocking the secrets of Ravenswood." Ava's heart skipped a beat as she read the message. Who could have sent it? And what did they mean by the key to unlocking the secrets of Ravenswood? Ava's mind was racing as she stared at the mysterious message. Who could have sent it? And what did they mean by the key to unlocking the secrets of Ravenswood? She turned the message over, looking for any clues that might reveal the identity of the sender. But there was nothing. No signature, no return address. no indication of who might have written it. Ava felt a shiver run down her spine as she realized that the message must have been sent by someone who knew her, someone who knew about her, research, and her fascination with Ravenswood's history. She tried to push the thought aside, telling herself that she was just being paranoid. But she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, that someone was waiting for her to make her next move. Ava decided to confide in her closest colleague, Dr. Emma Taylor. Emma was a brilliant historian and a fellow expert on Ravenswood's history. Ava trusted her implicitly, and she knew that Emma would be able to offer valuable insights into the mysterious message. As Ava showed Emma the message, she could see the excitement in her colleague's eyes. Emma's mind was already racing with possibilities, and Ava knew that she was in for a long and fascinating conversation. "What do you think it means?" Ava asked Emma, her eyes locked on the message. Emma hesitated, her brow furrowed in concentration. "I think it means that we're missing something," she said finally. "Something big." Ava's heart skipped a beat as she realized the implications of Emma's words. They had uncovered a piece of Ravenswood's history, but there was still so much more to discover. And now, it seemed, they had a mysterious guide to help them on their journey. Ava and Emma spent the rest of the day poring over the mysterious message, trying to decipher its meaning. They examined every word, every phrase, every punctuation mark, searching for a hidden clue that might reveal the identity of the sender. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the room, Ava suddenly sat up straight. "I think I've found something," she exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. Emma leaned in, her brow furrowed with curiosity. "What is it?" she asked. Her voice barely above a whisper, Ava pointed to a small, almost imperceptible mark on the edge of the message. It looked like a tiny arrow pointing to a specific word. "I think this mark is a clue," Ava said, her mind racing with possibilities. "I think it's telling us to look at this specific word." Emma's eyes widened as she realized the implications. "If that's the case, then this message is more than just a simple note," she said. "It's a puzzle, and we need to solve it." Ava nodded, her heart pounding with excitement. She loved puzzles, and this one seemed particularly intriguing. Together, the two women set to work, using their combined knowledge of history, language, and cryptography to unravel the mystery of the message. As the night wore on, they made slow but steady progress, uncovering a hidden code that revealed a shocking truth about Ravenswood's past. Ava's eyes met Emma's, and they both knew that their lives were about to change forever. Ava and Emma worked tirelessly, poring over the message and using their combined expertise to decipher the cryptic code. They used every tool at their disposal, from ancient languages to modern cryptography techniques. As the night wore on, they began to make progress, slowly unraveling the mystery of the message. The code was complex, but Ava and Emma were determined to crack it. Finally, after hours of work, they had a breakthrough. The code revealed a hidden message, one that had been concealed for centuries. Ava's eyes widened as she read the message, her mind racing with the implications. "It can't be," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Emma's eyes met hers, and they both knew that they had stumbled upon something incredible. The message revealed a long-lost secret, one that had been hidden for centuries. "What does it mean?" Emma asked, her voice full of wonder. Ava took a deep breath, trying to process the implications. "It means that everything we thought we knew about Ravenswood's history is wrong," she said, her voice filled with excitement. The two women sat in stunned silence, their minds reeling with the implications. They knew that they had uncovered something incredible, something that would change the course of history. And as they sat there, they knew that they were just beginning to scratch the surface of a much larger mystery. Ava and Emma spent the next few days poring over the revealed message, trying to understand the implications of their discovery. They knew that they had stumbled upon something incredible, something that would change the course of history. They delved deeper into the message. They began to uncover a hidden history, one that had been concealed for centuries. They discovered that Ravenswood's past was filled with secrets and lies, and that the town's history was far more complex than they had ever imagined. The two women worked tirelessly, using every resource at their disposal to uncover the truth. They scoured ancient texts, interviewed local residents, and explored the town's hidden corners. And as they dug deeper, they began to uncover a web of secrets and conspiracies that went all the way to the top. They discovered that Ravenswood's history was not just a series of random events, but a carefully constructed narrative designed to conceal the truth. Ava and Emma knew that they had to be careful, that they were playing with fire. But they were driven by a desire to uncover the truth, to reveal the secrets that had been hidden for so long. As they worked, they began to realize that they were not just uncovering a hidden history, but also a hidden present. They discovered that the secrets and lies of Ravenswood's past were still alive and well, and that the town's residents were still living with the consequences. Ava and Emma knew that they had stumbled upon something much bigger than themselves, something that would require all their courage and determination to uncover. But they were ready for the challenge, ready to face whatever secrets and lies lay ahead. Ava and Emma's research led them to an ancient map, hidden away in a dusty archive room. The map was yellowed and worn, but as they carefully unfolded it, they saw that it depicted Ravenswood and its surroundings. "This is incredible," Ava breathed, her eyes scanning the map. "It shows the town's layout, the location of the old castle, and even the hidden passageways." Emma's eyes widened as she pointed to a small inscription on the edge of the map. "Look at this," she said. "It's a riddle." Ava leaned in, her mind racing with possibilities. "Let's see. Where shadows fall, seek the key. In darkness lies the path to the truth." She looked up at Emma. "What do you think it means?" Emma frowned, her brow furrowed in concentration. "I'm not sure, but I think it's connected to the hidden passageways. Maybe there's a hidden entrance or a secret room that we haven't found yet." Ava's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Let's go and find out." Together, the two women set out to decipher the riddle and uncover the secrets of the ancient map. They explored the hidden passageways, searching for any clues that might lead them to the truth. As they walked, the air grew colder and the shadows deepened. Ava and Emma knew that they were getting close to something, but they didn't know what. Suddenly, Emma stopped, her eyes fixed on a small inscription on the wall. "Look at this," she whispered. Ava leaned in, her heart pounding with excitement. The inscription read, "Beneath the shadows lies the truth." Ava's eyes met Emma's, and they both knew that they had found what they were looking for. But as they turned to leave, they realized that they were not alone. As Ava and Emma turned to leave, they were confronted by a figure emerging from the shadows. He was tall, with piercing eyes that seemed to bore into their souls. "Who are you?" Ava demanded, trying to keep her voice steady. The stranger smiled, his eyes glinting with amusement. "My name is Marcus," he said, "and I've been waiting for you." Emma's eyes narrowed. "Waiting for us? How did you know we were here?" Marcus chuckled. "I have my ways," he said. "Let's just say that I've been following your research, and I must say, I'm impressed." Ava's instincts were screaming at her to be cautious. There was something about Marcus that didn't add up, but at the same time she was curious. What did he want? "What do you want from us?" Ava asked, trying to keep her tone neutral. Marcus's smile grew wider. "I want to show you something," he said, Something that will change everything you thought you knew about Ravenswood. Emma raised an eyebrow. What is it? Marcus leaned in, his voice dropping to a whisper. Come with me, and I'll show you. Ava and Emma exchanged a skeptical glance. But something about Marcus's words resonated with them. They nodded, and Marcus led them deeper into the shadows. Marcus led Ava and Emma through the winding passageways, deeper into the heart of Ravenswood. They walked for what felt like hours, the air growing thick with dust and the smell of old stone. Finally, they stopped in front of a large, ornate door. Marcus produced a small key and unlocked the door, revealing a hidden chamber beyond. Ava's eyes widened as she stepped inside. The chamber was filled with ancient artifacts, strange devices, and mysterious symbols etched into the walls. What is this place? Emma breathed, her eyes scanning the room. Marcus smiled. This is the heart of Ravenswood's secrets, he said. A place where the town's founders hid their most precious knowledge. Ava's eyes landed on a strange, glowing orb in the center of the room. What's that? She asked, her voice barely above. A whisper. Marcus's eyes gleamed with excitement. That, my friends, is the key to unlocking Ravenswood's greatest mystery. Emma's eyes narrowed. What mystery? Marcus leaned in, his voice dropping to a whisper. The mystery of the town's founders, he said, and the true purpose of Ravenswood. Ava's mind was racing with questions. What did Marcus mean? What was the true purpose of Ravenswood? But before she could ask, Marcus spoke again. Come, he said. Let me show you. And with that, he led them deeper into the heart of the hidden chamber, further into the secrets of Ravenswood. Marcus led Ava and Emma to a large wooden table in the center of the hidden chamber. The table was covered in ancient texts, yellowed with age and bound in worn leather. These are the journals of Ravenswood's founders, Marcus said, his eyes gleaming with excitement. They hold the secrets of the town's creation and the true purpose of Ravenswood. Ava's eyes widened as she began to scan the pages. The texts were written in an ancient language, but as she touched the pages, she felt a strange energy emanating from them. Emma looked up from her own examination of the texts. These are incredible, she said. They describe a town built on ancient principles, with a specific purpose in mind. Marcus nodded. Ravenswood was built as a nexus point, he said. A place where ancient energies converge, and where the veil between worlds is thin. Ava's mind was racing with questions. What did Marcus mean by ancient energies? And what veil between worlds was he talking about? But before she could ask, Emma spoke up. I think I've found something, she said, her eyes scanning the pages. A passage that describes a ritual, one that's supposed to unlock the secrets of Ravenswood. Marcus's eyes gleamed with excitement. Ah, yes, he said. The ritual of the founders. It's said to hold the key to unlocking Ravenswood's true purpose. Ava felt a shiver run down her spine. What did Marcus mean by true purpose? And what would happen if they performed the ritual? But before she could ask, Marcus spoke again. Come, he said. Let us prepare for the ritual. We have much to do before we can unlock the secrets of Ravenswood. Marcus led Ava and Emma to a small, dimly lit room deep within the hidden chamber. The room was filled with strange artifacts and symbols etched into the walls. This is the ritual chamber, Marcus said, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Here, we will prepare for the ritual of the founders. Ava's eyes widened as she scanned the room. She saw strange devices, ancient texts, and mysterious symbols etched into the walls. What do we need to do? Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus smiled. We must prepare the ritual space, he said, and we must prepare ourselves. Ava felt a shiver run down her spine. What did Marcus mean by prepare themselves? And what would happen during the ritual? But before she could ask, Marcus began to hand out small, intricately carved boxes. "These are the ritual boxes," he said. "Inside, you will find the tools you need to complete the ritual." Ava took the box, feeling a strange energy emanating from it. She opened it, revealing a small crystal orb, a silver dagger, and a piece of parchment with strange symbols etched onto it. "What do these symbols mean?" Emma asked, her eyes scanning the parchment. Marcus smiled. "Those are the symbols of the founders," he said. "They hold the key to unlocking the secrets of Ravenswood." Ava felt a surge of excitement. She was about to uncover the secrets of Ravenswood, and she was ready for whatever lay ahead. But as she looked at Marcus, she saw a hint of something in his eyes, something that made her wonder if she was truly ready for what was to come. Marcus led Ava and Emma to the center of the ritual chamber, where a large stone pedestal stood. On top of the pedestal was a small, leather-bound book. "This is the ritual book," Marcus said, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "It contains the words of the founders and the secrets of Ravenswood." Ava felt a shiver run down her spine as Marcus opened the book, revealing yellowed pages filled with ancient text. "We must read the words of the founders," Marcus said, his voice low and hypnotic. "And we must speak them aloud to unlock the secrets of Ravenswood." Emma nodded, her eyes fixed on the book. "I'll start," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. As Emma began to read, Ava felt a strange energy building in the room. The air seemed to vibrate with an otherworldly power, and the symbols etched into the walls began to glow with a soft, blue light. Marcus smiled, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "The ritual has begun," he said, "and soon we will unlock the secrets of Ravenswood." But as Ava listened to Emma's words, she began to feel a sense of unease. Something didn't feel right, and she couldn't shake the feeling that they were playing with forces beyond their control. And then, just as Emma finished reading, the room was filled with a blinding flash of light. Ava felt herself being lifted out of her body, transported to a realm beyond the physical world. She saw a vision of Ravenswood, but it was unlike anything she had ever seen before. The town was bathed in a golden light, and the buildings seemed to shimmer and glow. Ava saw figures moving through the streets, but they were not people she recognized. They were dressed in clothing from another era, and they seemed to be going about their daily business with a sense of purpose and urgency. As Ava watched, the vision shifted and changed. She saw a great temple rising from the earth, its walls covered in intricate carvings and symbols. She saw a figure standing at the entrance of the temple, a figure who seemed to be calling to her. Ava felt herself being drawn towards the figure, felt a sense of connection and recognition. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the vision ended. Ava found herself back in the ritual chamber, surrounded by Marcus and Emma. They were staring at her with concern and curiosity. "What did you see?" Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ava hesitated, trying to process the vision she had just experienced. "I saw Ravenswood," she said finally. "But it was different. It was glowing." Marcus nodded, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "The vision of the founders," he said. "You have been chosen to see the truth of Ravenswood's past." Ava felt a shiver run down her spine. What did Marcus mean? And what did the vision have to do with the secrets of Ravenswood? Ava's mind was reeling with questions. What did Marcus mean by the vision of the founders? And what did it have to do with the secrets of Ravenswood? Marcus smiled, as if he knew the questions that were running through Ava's mind. "The founders of Ravenswood were not just ordinary people," he said. They were visionaries who sought to create a community that was based on ancient principles. Emma's eyes narrowed. "What kind of principles?" she asked. Marcus hesitated, as if he was choosing his words carefully. "The founders believed in the power of the universe," he said. "They believed that everything was connected, and that by harnessing the power of the universe, they could create a community that was truly unique." Ava felt a shiver run down her spine. She had always known that Ravenswood was a special place, but she had never suspected that it was based on such a profound philosophy. As she looked at Marcus, she saw something in his eyes that gave her pause. It was a glint of knowledge, a sense of secrets that were yet to be revealed. "What else do you know?" Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus smiled, his eyes glinting with amusement. "I know that Ravenswood is more than just a town," he said. "It's a gateway to other dimensions, a portal to other worlds." Ava's mind was reeling. Dimensions, portals. What was Marcus talking about? But before she could ask any questions, Emma spoke up. "I think I understand," she said. "You're talking about the ancient myths, the stories of other worlds and dimensions." Marcus nodded, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "Yes, I am," he said. "And I believe that Ravenswood is the key to unlocking those myths, to revealing the secrets of the universe." Ava's mind was racing with questions. What did Marcus mean by the ancient myths? And what did they have to do with Ravenswood? Emma's eyes were shining with excitement. "I think I know what Marcus is talking about," she said. "The ancient myths are stories of other worlds and dimensions, of portals and gateways that connect them." Marcus nodded, his eyes gleaming with enthusiasm. "That's right," he said. "And I believe that Ravenswood is one of those gateways." Ava felt a shiver run down her spine. Gateways to other worlds? It sounded like science fiction, but Marcus seemed so convinced. "What makes you think that?" Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus smiled, his eyes glinting with amusement. "I've been researching the history of Ravenswood," he said, "and I've found some fascinating connections." Emma leaned forward, her eyes shining with curiosity. "What kind of connections?" she asked. Marcus hesitated, as if he was choosing his words carefully. "I've found evidence of ancient rituals and ceremonies," he said. "Rituals that were meant to open portals to other worlds." Ava's mind was reeling. Ancient rituals, portals to other worlds. It sounded like something out of a fantasy novel. But Marcus seemed so convinced, and Emma was nodding along as if she understood exactly what he was talking about. "What does it all mean?" Ava asked, feeling a sense of frustration. Marcus smiled, his eyes glinting with excitement. "It means that Ravenswood is more than just a town," he said. "It's a gateway to other worlds, a portal to other dimensions." Ava felt a shiver run down her spine. She had always known that Ravenswood was a special place, but she had never suspected that it was connected to other worlds. As she looked at Marcus and Emma, she saw the excitement in their eyes, the sense of adventure that was calling to them, and Ava knew that she was ready to join them on that adventure, to explore the secrets of Ravenswood and uncover the truth about the ancient myths. As Ava, Emma, and Marcus ventured deeper into the hidden chamber, they stumbled upon a vast array of ancient symbols etched into the walls. Ava's eyes widened as she gazed upon the intricate markings. "These symbols are ancient," she breathed. "I've never seen anything like them." Emma nodded, her eyes scanning the symbols. "They appear to be some sort of language," she said, "but I'm not sure what they mean." Marcus smiled, his eyes gleaming with knowledge. "These symbols hold the key to unlocking Ravenswood's secrets," he said. "They are a map, guiding us towards the heart of the mystery." Ava's heart was racing with excitement as she gazed upon the symbols. She knew that they were getting close to uncovering the truth, and she was eager to decipher the meaning behind the ancient markings. As they studied the symbols, Ava began to notice a pattern. The markings seemed to be pointing to a specific location, a hidden path that wound deep into the heart of the chamber. "I think I see a pattern," Ava said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The symbols are pointing to a hidden path." Emma's eyes met hers, and they both knew that they were on the brink of a major discovery. "Let's follow the path," Emma said, her voice firm and resolute. Marcus nodded, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "Together, we will uncover the secrets of Ravenswood," he said, and with that, the three of them set off along the hidden path, ready to face whatever lay ahead. As Ava, Emma, and Marcus ventured deeper into the hidden chamber, they stumbled upon a vast array of ancient symbols etched into the walls. Ava's eyes widened as she gazed upon the intricate markings. "These symbols are ancient," she breathed. "I've never seen anything like them." Emma nodded, her eyes scanning the symbols. "They appear to be some sort of language," she said, "but I'm not sure what they mean." Marcus smiled, his eyes gleaming with knowledge. "These symbols hold the key to unlocking Ravenswood's secrets," he said. "They are a map, guiding us towards the heart of the mystery." Ava's heart was racing with excitement as she gazed upon the symbols. She knew that they were getting close to uncovering the truth, and she was eager to decipher the meaning behind the ancient markings. As they studied the symbols, Ava began to notice a pattern. The markings seemed to be pointing to a specific location, a hidden path that wound deep into the heart of the chamber. "I think I see a pattern," Ava said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The symbols are pointing to a hidden path." Emma's eyes met hers, and they both knew that they were on the brink of a major discovery. "Let's follow the path," Emma said, her voice firm and resolute. Marcus nodded, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "Together, we will uncover the secrets of Ravenswood," he said, and with that, the three of them set off along the hidden path, ready to face whatever lay ahead. As Ava, Emma, and Marcus ventured deeper into the cavernous space, they stumbled upon an ancient temple hidden within the heart of the chamber. The temple's entrance was guarded by two massive stone statues, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly energy. Ava's eyes widened as she gazed upon the breathtaking sight before her. "This is incredible," she breathed. "I've never seen anything like it." Emma's eyes met hers, and they both knew that they were on the brink of a major discovery. Marcus smiled, his eyes gleaming with knowledge. "This is the Temple of the Ancients," he said. "Here, we will uncover the secrets of Ravenswood's past and the truth about the ancient myths." As they approached the temple, Ava could feel a strange energy emanating from within. The air seemed to vibrate with an ancient power, and she knew that they were getting close to uncovering the truth. The temple's entrance was a massive stone door, adorned with intricate carvings and mysterious symbols. Marcus produced a small, crystal key and inserted it into a hidden keyhole. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit chamber beyond. Ava's heart was racing with anticipation as she stepped forward, ready to face whatever secrets lay within. As they entered the chamber, Ava saw a series of ancient artifacts and mysterious devices scattered throughout the room. She knew that they were on the brink of a major discovery, one that would change everything they thought they knew about Ravenswood. But as they delved deeper into the temple, Ava began to realize that they were not alone. A presence lurked in the shadows, watching them with cold, calculating eyes, and Ava knew that they were in grave danger. As Ava, Emma, and Marcus ventured deeper into the temple, They began to sense a presence lurking in the shadows. Ava's heart was racing with anticipation, and she could feel a strange energy emanating from the darkness. "What's going on?" Emma whispered, her eyes scanning the room. Marcus's eyes narrowed. "I'm not sure," he said, "but I think we're being watched." Ava's eyes met his, and they both knew that they were in grave danger. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a woman, tall and imposing, with long flowing hair and eyes that seemed to bore into Ava's soul. She was dressed in a flowing white robe, and her presence seemed to fill the room. "Who are you?" Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The woman smiled, her eyes glinting with amusement. "I am the guardian of Ravenswood's secrets," she said. "And you, Ava, are the key to unlocking them." Ava's heart was racing with fear, and she could feel a strange energy building within her. She knew that she was on the brink of a major discovery, one that would change everything she thought she knew about Ravenswood. But as she looked into the woman's eyes, Ava realized that she was not what she seemed. There was something sinister lurking beneath the surface, something that threatened to destroy everything Ava held dear. And Ava knew that she had to be careful, for she was about to uncover secrets that were meant to remain hidden. Ava's eyes were fixed on the Guardian, her mind racing with questions. Who was this woman, and what did she mean by saying that Ava was the key to unlocking Ravenswood's secrets? The Guardian smiled, her eyes glinting with amusement. "You have so many questions, Ava," she said, "but are you prepared for the answers?" Ava nodded, her heart pounding with anticipation. She was ready to uncover the secrets of Ravenswood, no matter what they might be. The Guardian nodded, her expression serious. "Very well," she said. "I will tell you the truth about Ravenswood, but you must promise to listen with an open mind and to consider the consequences of what you are about to learn." Ava nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. What could the Guardian possibly tell her that would require such a warning? The Guardian took a deep breath, her eyes locked on Ava's. "Ravenswood is not just a town," she said. "It is a nexus point, a crossing of dimensions and worlds. And you, Ava, are the key to unlocking it." Ava's mind was reeling with the implications. Dimensions and worlds. What did the Guardian mean? But before she could ask any questions, the Guardian continued. "You see, Ava, you have a special gift. A gift that allows you to see beyond the veil of reality, to perceive the hidden patterns and connections that underlie our world." Ava's eyes widened as she realized the truth. She had always felt like there was something missing, something that set her apart from others. And now she knew what it was. She had the gift of sight, the ability to see beyond the surface level of reality. And with this gift, she was being called to fulfill an important role, one that would determine the fate of Ravenswood and beyond. Ava's mind was reeling with the implications of the Guardian's words. She had always felt like there was something missing, something that set her apart from others. And now, she knew what it was. She had the gift of sight, the ability to see beyond the surface level of reality. And with this gift, she was being called to fulfill an important role, one that would determine the fate of Ravenswood and beyond. The Guardian smiled, her eyes gleaming with a knowing light. "You are the chosen one, Ava," she said. "The one who has been prophesied to unlock the secrets of Ravenswood and bring balance to the dimensions." Ava's eyes widened as she listened to the Guardian's words. A prophecy? Chosen one? She felt like she was living in a dream, a fantasy world that was beyond her wildest imagination. But the Guardian's words were laced with a sense of urgency, a sense of danger that lurked in the shadows. "The forces of darkness are gathering, Ava," she said. "Forces that seek to destroy the balance of the dimensions and plunge the world into chaos." Ava felt a shiver run down her spine as she listened to the Guardian's words. She knew that she had to act, to fulfill her role in the prophecy and save the world from destruction. But as she looked at the Guardian, she saw a hint of sadness in her eyes. "What's wrong?" Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The Guardian sighed, her shoulders sagging beneath the weight of her responsibilities. "I fear that you may not be prepared for what lies ahead, Ava," she said. "The forces of darkness are powerful, and they will stop at nothing to achieve their goals." Ava steeled herself, her heart pounding with determination. She was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, to fulfill her role in the prophecy and save the world from destruction. "I'm ready," she said, her voice firm and resolute. "I'll do whatever it takes to save Ravenswood and the dimensions." The Guardian smiled, her eyes gleaming with pride. "I knew I could count on you, Ava," she said. "Together, we will face the forces of darkness and emerge victorious. You're deep into the story now, and the horrors are only escalating. If you're still with us, don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell us where you're listening from in the comments. Who else is staying up late to face this nightmare? Settle in. The terror continues." Ava stood tall, her heart pounding with determination. She was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, to fulfill her role in the prophecy and save Ravenswood and the dimensions. The Guardian nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Then, let us begin," she said. With a wave of her hand, the Guardian summoned a brilliant light that filled the room. Ava felt herself being lifted out of her body, transported to a realm beyond the physical world. When the light faded, Ava found herself standing in a vast open plain. The sky above was a deep, burning purple, and the air was filled with an otherworldly energy. Emma and Marcus stood beside her, their eyes shining with excitement. "We're really doing this," Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus nodded, his eyes fixed on the horizon. "We have a long journey ahead of us," he said, "but with Ava's gift and our combined strength, I know we can succeed." Ava smiled, feeling a sense of pride and purpose. She was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, to fulfill her role in the prophecy and save Ravenswood and the dimensions. Together, the three of them set off across the plain, their footsteps echoing through the stillness. They walked for hours, the landscape shifting and changing around them. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the plain, Ava saw a figure in the distance. It was a woman, tall and stately, with long flowing hair and eyes that shone like stars. "Who is that?" Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus frowned, his eyes narrowing. "I don't know," he said, "but I think we're about to find out." As Ava, Emma, and Marcus approached the mysterious woman, Ava could feel a strange energy emanating from her. The woman's eyes seemed to bore into Ava's soul, as if she could see right through her. "Who are you?" Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The woman smiled, her eyes glinting with amusement. "I am Ariana," she said. "And I have been waiting for you, Ava." Ava's eyes narrowed. "Waiting for me?" she repeated. "How did you know my name?" Ariana's smile grew wider. "I know many things, Ava," she said, "including the fact that you are the chosen one, destined to fulfill an important role in the prophecy." Emma's eyes met Ava's, and they both knew that they had stumbled into something much bigger than themselves. "What prophecy?" Emma asked, her voice firm. Ariana's eyes seemed to cloud over, as if she was gazing into a distant past. "The prophecy of the Ancient Ones," she said. "A prophecy that speaks of a great imbalance in the dimensions and of a chosen one who will bring balance and harmony to the universe." Marcus's eyes narrowed. "And what role does Ava play in this prophecy?" He asked. Ariana's eyes snapped back into focus, and she gazed at Ava with an intensity that made Ava's heart skip a beat. Ava is the key to unlocking the secrets of the prophecy, she said, and she is the only one who can bring balance to the dimensions. Ava felt a surge of fear mixed with excitement. She had always known that she was different, but she had never suspected that she was destined for something so big. "What do I need to do?" Ava asked, her voice firm. Ariana's smile grew wider. "You need to come with me," she said, "and trust that I will guide you on your journey." Ava hesitated, unsure of what to do. But as she looked into Ariana's eyes, she saw something there that made her trust this mysterious woman. "Okay," Ava said finally. "I'll come with you." And with that, Ava, Emma, and Marcus followed Ariana into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Ava, Emma, and Marcus followed Ariana through the winding paths and hidden tunnels, they began to notice a change in the air. The sky grew darker, and the stars seemed to twinkle with an otherworldly energy. "Where are we going?" Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ariana smiled, her eyes glinting with amusement. "We're going to the hidden city," she said, "a place where the ancient ones once walked among mortals." Ava's eyes widened as she listened to Ariana's words. A hidden city? It sounded like something out of a myth or a legend. As they walked, the path began to slope downward, leading them deeper into the heart of the earth. The air grew warmer, and the sound of running water echoed through the tunnels. Suddenly, they emerged into a vast underground chamber, lit by a dazzling array of crystals and gemstones. Ava's eyes widened as she gazed upon the breathtaking sight before her. The hidden city was unlike anything Ava had ever seen. Towering spires and glittering minarets rose from the ground, surrounded by a labyrinth of winding streets and hidden alleys. "Welcome to Elgoroth," Ariana said, her voice filled with pride. "The city of the ancient ones." Ava's heart was racing with excitement as she gazed upon the hidden city. She knew that she was on the brink of a major discovery, one that would change everything she thought she knew about the world. But as they explored the city, Ava began to realize that they were not alone. A presence lurked in the shadows, watching them with cold, calculating eyes, and Ava knew that they were in grave danger. As Ava, Emma, and Marcus followed Ariana through the winding tunnels, they began to notice a change in the air. The darkness seemed to be lifting, replaced by a soft, ethereal glow. "What is this place?" Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ariana smiled, her eyes shining with excitement. "This is the hidden city of Elgoroth," she said, "a city that has been hidden for centuries, waiting for the Chosen One to unlock its secrets." Ava's mind flashed back to the prophecy and the words of the Guardian. She was the Chosen One, destined to bring balance to the dimensions. As they emerged from the tunnels, Ava's eyes widened in amazement. Before her lay a city of breathtaking beauty, its towers and spires shining with a light that seemed almost otherworldly. "Wow," Marcus breathed, his eyes scanning the city. "This is incredible." Ariana nodded, her smile growing wider. "Elgoroth is a city of ancient wisdom," she said, "a city that holds the secrets of the universe." As they explored the city, Ava began to realize the true extent of its secrets. Everywhere she looked, she saw ancient artifacts and mysterious devices, each one holding a piece of the puzzle that was the prophecy. She remembered the ancient symbols they had found in the hidden chamber, and the way they had seemed to point to a hidden path. "This city is connected to the hidden chamber," Ava said, her eyes meeting Ariana's. "And the ancient symbols we found are connected to the prophecy." Ariana nodded, her eyes shining with approval. "You are indeed the Chosen One, Ava," she said. "You have the ability to see beyond the surface level of reality and to understand the hidden connections that bind the universe together." But as the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the city, Ava felt a sense of unease. She knew that they were not alone in Elgoroth, that there were others lurking in the shadows waiting to strike. "What's wrong?" Emma asked, noticing Ava's concern. Ava hesitated, unsure of how to express her fears. But as she looked at Emma and Marcus, she knew that she had to be honest. "I think we're in danger," Ava said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I think there are others here who don't want us to succeed." Ariana's eyes narrowed, her expression serious. "You are right, Ava," she said. "There are those who would seek to stop us. But we must not let fear hold us back. We must press on, no matter the danger." And with that, Ava, Emma, and Marcus steeled themselves for what lay ahead, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them in the hidden city of Elgoroth. As Ava, Emma, and Marcus ventured deeper into the hidden city of Elgoroth, they couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being watched. The air was thick with an eerie silence, and the shadows seemed to writhe and twist on the walls. "I don't like this," Emma whispered, her eyes scanning the darkness. "It feels like we're being herded towards something." Ava nodded, her heart pounding with anticipation. She knew that they were getting close to uncovering the secrets of the prophecy. Suddenly, a faint rustling sound echoed through the corridor. Ava's eyes snapped towards the noise, and she saw a shadowy figure darting around the corner. "Who's there?" Marcus called out, his voice echoing off the walls. The figure didn't respond. Instead, it vanished into the darkness, leaving Ava, Emma, and Marcus staring at each other in confusion. "What was that?" Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ava's eyes met Ariana's. "I think it's one of the Guardians," Ariana said. "They're sworn to protect the secrets of Elgoroth." Ava's heart was racing with excitement. She knew that they were getting close to uncovering the truth. "Let's keep moving," Ava said, her voice firm. "We can't let a little setback like this stop us." As they ventured deeper into the hidden city, Ava couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being led into a trap. The shadows seemed to grow longer and darker, and the air grew thick with an eerie malevolence. But Ava refused to back down. She knew that she had to uncover the secrets of the prophecy, no matter the danger. And so, with a deep breath, Ava, Emma, and Marcus stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face whatever lay ahead. As Ava, Emma, and Marcus ventured deeper into the hidden city of Elgoroth, they stumbled upon an ancient temple hidden within the heart of the city. The temple's entrance was guarded by two massive stone statues, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly energy. Ava's eyes widened as she gazed upon the breathtaking sight before her. "This is incredible," she breathed. "I've never seen anything like it." Ariana smiled, her eyes shining with excitement. "This is the Temple of the Ancients," she said, "a place where the secrets of the universe are hidden." Emma's eyes met Ava's, and they both knew that they were on the brink of a major discovery. Marcus nodded, his eyes fixed on the temple. As they approached the temple, Ava could feel a strange energy emanating from within. The air seemed to vibrate with an ancient power, and she knew that they were getting close to uncovering the secrets of the prophecy. Ariana produced a small crystal key and inserted it into a hidden keyhole. The temple's doors creaked open, revealing a dimly lit chamber beyond. Ava's heart was racing with anticipation as she stepped forward, ready to face whatever secrets lay within. The chamber was filled with ancient artifacts and mysterious devices, each one holding a piece of the puzzle that was the prophecy. As they explored the chamber, Ava began to realize the true extent of the prophecy. She saw ancient symbols etched into the walls, symbols that seemed to point to a hidden path. "This is it," Ava breathed, her eyes shining with excitement. "This is the key to unlocking the secrets of the prophecy." But as they delved deeper into the temple, Ava began to sense a presence lurking in the shadows. A presence that seemed to be watching them with cold, calculating eyes. And Ava knew that they were in grave danger. As Ava, Emma, and Marcus ventured deeper into the ancient temple, they stumbled upon a hidden passageway that led to a secret chamber. The air was thick with an eerie silence, and the walls seemed to whisper secrets to each other. Ava's heart was racing with anticipation as she pushed aside the curtain of cobwebs that covered the entrance. The chamber was small, with walls lined with ancient artifacts and mysterious devices. Ariana's eyes shone with excitement as she stepped forward. "This is the heart of the temple," she said. "Here, we will find the secrets of the prophecy." Emma's eyes met Ava's, and they both knew that they were on the brink of a major discovery. Marcus nodded, his eyes fixed on the artifacts. As they explored the chamber, Ava began to realize the true extent of the prophecy. She saw ancient symbols etched into the walls, symbols that seemed to point to a hidden path. "This is it," Ava breathed, her eyes shining with excitement. "This is the key to unlocking the secrets of the prophecy." But as they delved deeper into the chamber, Ava began to sense a presence lurking in the shadows, a presence that seemed to be watching them with cold, calculating eyes. Suddenly the air seemed to shift and ripple, and a figure emerged from the shadows. Ava's heart skipped a beat as she saw the figure's face. It was the guardian of Ravenswood, the one who had given Ava the prophecy. But this time, her eyes seemed different, colder, and more calculating. "Welcome, Ava," the guardian said, her voice dripping with malice. "I see you've made it past the first test, but the real challenge is only just beginning." Ava's heart was racing with fear as she realized the true nature of the guardian's intentions. She knew that she had to be careful, for she was about to face the greatest challenge of her life. Ava's eyes narrowed as she gazed at the guardian. She couldn't believe that the woman who had given her the prophecy was now standing before her, her eyes gleaming with malice. "What do you want from me?" Ava demanded, her voice firm. The guardian smiled, her lips curling upward. "I want to help you fulfill your destiny, Ava," she said. "But first you must prove yourself worthy." Ava's eyes flashed with anger. "What do you mean?" she asked. The guardian stepped forward, her eyes glinting with a sinister light. "I mean that you must face your greatest fears and overcome them," she said. "Only then will you be worthy of fulfilling the prophecy." Emma and Marcus stepped forward, their eyes flashing with determination. "We're not going to let you hurt Ava," Emma said. The guardian laughed, her voice dripping with malice. "You can't stop me," she said. "I have the power of the Ancient Ones on my side." Ava's heart was racing with fear as she realized the true extent of the guardian's powers. She knew that she had to be careful, for she was about to face the greatest challenge of her life. But Ava refused to back down. She knew that she had to fulfill the prophecy, no matter the danger. "I'm ready," Ava said, her voice firm. "I'll face whatever fears you throw at me." The guardian smiled, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "Very well," she said. "Let the trials begin." And with that, the guardian raised her hands, and the room began to spin and distort. Ava felt herself being pulled into a vortex of fear and uncertainty, and she knew that she had to be brave if she was going to survive. Ava's world was turned upside down as the guardian's magic took hold. She felt herself being pulled through a swirling vortex of colors and sounds, her senses overwhelmed by the sheer intensity of the experience. When the vortex finally dissipated, Ava found herself standing in a dark and foreboding forest. The trees loomed above her, their branches creaking ominously in the wind. "What is this place?" Ava asked, her voice shaking slightly. The guardian's voice echoed through the forest, her words dripping with malice. "This is the realm of your deepest fears, Ava," she said. "Here, you will face the darkest corners of your own mind." Ava steeled herself, her heart pounding with anticipation. She knew that she had to face her fears head-on if she was going to survive. As she walked through the forest, Ava began to notice that the trees seemed to be shifting and changing around her. The branches seemed to be reaching out to her like skeletal fingers. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was Ava's greatest fear, her own failure. The figure loomed over her, its eyes blazing with a fierce inner light. Ava felt herself being consumed by a wave of self-doubt and fear. But then, something inside of Ava clicked. She remembered the words of the prophecy and the power that lay within her. With newfound determination, Ava stood tall and faced her fear head-on. "I am not afraid of you," she said, her voice firm. The figure began to fade away, its power broken by Ava's bravery. Ava felt a surge of confidence and strength, and she knew that she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. But the guardian's voice echoed through the forest once more, her words dripping with malice. "The trials are far from over, Ava," she said. "The next challenge is already waiting for you." Ava's heart was still racing from her confrontation with her greatest fear. She had faced it head-on and emerged victorious, but she knew that the trials were far from over. As she walked through the forest, the trees seemed to shift and change around her once more. The branches seemed to be reaching out to her, guiding her towards a new destination. Suddenly, Ava found herself standing in front of a massive stone door. The door was adorned with intricate carvings and symbols, and it seemed to radiate a powerful energy. The guardian's voice echoed through the air once more. "The next trial is the labyrinth of reflections," she said. "Here, you will face your own memories and desires." Ava steeled herself and pushed open the door. Beyond it lay a vast, maze-like labyrinth filled with mirrors and reflections. As Ava walked through the labyrinth, she began to see visions of her past and present. She saw herself as a child playing with her friends in the woods. She saw herself as a teenager struggling to come to terms with her newfound powers. But she also saw visions of her desires and fears. She saw herself failing to fulfill the prophecy, and she saw herself losing the people she loved. Ava knew that she had to navigate the labyrinth carefully. She had to confront her own memories and desires, and she had to emerge stronger and wiser. With determination in her heart, Ava walked through the labyrinth, facing her reflections and emerging stronger with each step. But as she reached the center of the labyrinth, Ava realized that the greatest challenge was yet to come. The guardian's voice echoed through the air once more, her words dripping with malice. "The final trial is the most difficult of all," she said. "Are you prepared to face your greatest challenge, Ava?" Ava's heart was pounding with anticipation as she stood at the center of the labyrinth. She had faced her fears, confronted her memories, and emerged stronger with each step. But the guardian's words echoed in her mind, warning her of the final trial. Ava steeled herself, knowing that she had to be brave if she was going to succeed. The labyrinth began to shift and change around her, the mirrors and reflections disappearing as a new landscape emerged. Ava found herself standing at the edge of a vast, empty plain. The guardian's voice echoed through the air once more. "The final trial is the trial of choice," she said. "Here, you will be forced to make a choice that will determine the course of your destiny." Ava looked out across the plain, trying to see what lay ahead. But the horizon was empty, with no signs of life or movement. Suddenly, two figures emerged from the distance. One was a woman, tall and stately, with long, flowing hair and eyes that shone like stars. The other was a man, dark and brooding, with eyes that seemed to bore into Ava's soul. "Who are you?" Ava asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The woman smiled, her eyes shining with warmth. "I am the embodiment of your heart's desire," she said. "I am the one who will bring you joy and happiness." The man spoke, his voice low and husky. "And I am the embodiment of your greatest fear," he said. "I am the one who will bring you pain and suffering." Ava's heart was racing with confusion. She didn't know what to do or which path to choose. But as she looked into the eyes of the two figures, she knew that she had to make a choice. She had to choose between her heart's desire and her greatest fear. The fate of Ravenswood and the dimensions hung in the balance, and Ava knew that she had to choose wisely. Ava's heart was racing with anticipation as she stood before the two figures. She knew that she had to make a choice, but she was torn. The woman, embodiment of her heart's desire, smiled at her. "Choose me, Ava," she said. "I will bring you joy and happiness beyond your wildest dreams." The man, embodiment of her greatest fear, sneered at her. "You'll never be happy with her," he said. "I am the one who will bring you true power and fulfillment." Ava hesitated, unsure of what to do. She looked into the eyes of the two figures, searching for answers. But as she looked deeper, she saw something that made her heart skip a beat. She saw a glimmer of recognition in the eyes of the woman. It was a spark of familiarity, a sense of connection that went beyond mere chance. Ava's heart leapt with excitement as she realized the truth. The woman was not just a symbol of her heart's desire. She was a part of Ava herself, a part that had been hidden deep within her subconscious. With this newfound understanding, Ava knew what she had to do. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the choice ahead. "I choose neither of you," Ava said, her voice firm. "I choose myself." The two figures vanished, leaving Ava standing alone on the plain. But she was not alone for long. A figure emerged from the distance, walking towards her with a sense of purpose. It was Ariana, the guardian of Ravenswood. "Well done, Ava," Ariana said, her eyes shining with pride. "You have passed the final trial." Ava smiled, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. She had faced her fears and overcome them. But as she looked at Ariana, she knew that there was still more to come. The prophecy was not yet fulfilled, and Ava still had a role to play. "What's next?" Ava asked, her eyes locked on Ariana's. Ariana smiled, her eyes glinting with mischief. "The final act of the prophecy is about to begin," she said. "Are you ready, Ava?" Ava's heart was racing with anticipation as she stood before Ariana. She had passed the final trial, and now she was ready to fulfill the prophecy. "What's the final act?" Ava asked, her eyes locked on Ariana's. Ariana smiled, her eyes glinting with mischief. "The final act is the union of the dimensions," she said. "The prophecy has foretold of a great imbalance in the dimensions, and it is up to you to restore balance." Ava's mind was racing with questions. "How do I do that?" she asked. Ariana handed Ava a small crystal orb. "This is the heart of Ravenswood," she said. "It holds the power to unite the dimensions." Ava took the orb, feeling its power coursing through her veins. She knew that she had to be careful, for the fate of the dimensions hung in the balance. As Ava held the orb, she began to see visions of the dimensions. She saw the beauty of the mortal realm, the magic of the mystical realm, and the darkness of the shadow realm. But she also saw the imbalance that threatened to destroy the dimensions. She saw the darkness spreading, consuming everything in its path. Ava knew that she had to act fast. She raised the orb, feeling its power surging through her. "I call upon the power of the heart of Ravenswood," Ava said, her voice firm. I call upon the power of the dimensions. The orb began to glow, its light filling the air. Ava felt herself being lifted out of her body, transported to a realm beyond the physical world. She saw the dimensions unfolding before her like a great tapestry. She saw the threads of fate that connected them, and she knew that she had to weave them together. With the power of the heart of Ravenswood, Ava began to weave the threads of fate. She brought the dimensions together, restoring balance to the universe. As she worked, Ava felt a sense of peace and harmony. She knew that she had fulfilled the prophecy and that the dimensions were safe. But as she returned to her physical body, Ava saw a figure standing before her. It was the dark sorcerer, his eyes blazing with anger and hatred. You may have fulfilled the prophecy, he spat, but you will never leave this place alive. Ava's eyes locked onto the dark sorcerer, her heart pounding with anticipation. She knew that this was the final confrontation, the moment of truth. You're too late, Ava said, her voice firm. I've already fulfilled the prophecy. The dimensions are balanced, and the universe is safe. The dark sorcerer sneered, his eyes blazing with hatred. You may have fulfilled the prophecy, he spat, but you'll never leave this place alive. My master will see to that. Ava smiled, her eyes glinting with determination. I'm not afraid of you, she said. I'm not afraid of your master. I've come too far, and I've sacrificed too much. The dark sorcerer snarled, his eyes flashing with anger. We'll see about that, he spat, raising his hand. A bolt of dark energy shot towards Ava, but she was ready. She raised her own hand, and a blast of white energy countered the dark sorcerer's attack. The two energies clashed, creating a blast of light and sound that shook the very foundations of the temple. Ava stumbled back, her eyes blinded by the intensity of the energy. But she refused to give up. She summoned all her strength, all her courage, and launched a counterattack. The dark sorcerer stumbled back, his eyes widening in surprise. Ava pressed her advantage, unleashing a barrage of energy blasts that drove the dark sorcerer back. Finally, with a burst of energy that seemed to come from the very heart of the universe, Ava struck the final blow. The dark sorcerer stumbled back, his eyes wide with shock, and then he vanished into nothingness. Ava stood tall, her chest heaving with exhaustion. She had done it. She had saved the universe. But as she turned to leave the temple, Ava saw a figure standing in the shadows. It was Ariana, her eyes shining with pride. Well done, Ava, Ariana said, her voice filled with emotion. You've saved the universe. You've fulfilled the prophecy. Ava smiled, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. She had done it. She had saved the universe. But as she walked towards Ariana, Ava knew that there was still one more thing to do. She had to return to Ravenswood, to tell her friends and family that she was alive. And so, with Ariana by her side, Ava set off on the long journey back to Ravenswood, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Ava stood at the edge of the forest, gazing out at the familiar landscape of Ravenswood. It was hard to believe that she had been away for so long, facing challenges and dangers that she had never even imagined. Ariana stood beside her, a warm smile on her face. You've come a long way, Ava, she said. You've grown into a powerful and brave young woman. Ava smiled, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. She had saved the universe, fulfilled the prophecy, and discovered her own hidden strengths. As they walked towards the village, Ava saw familiar faces emerging from the crowd. Her friends and family rushed towards her, tears of joy streaming down their faces. Ava! Her mother exclaimed, embracing her tightly. We thought we'd lost you forever. Ava hugged her back, feeling a sense of homecoming that she had never felt before. She knew that she had been on a journey of self-discovery and that she had emerged stronger and wiser. As the villagers celebrated her return, Ava knew that she had found her true place in the world. She was a guardian of Ravenswood, a protector of the universe, and a powerful young woman with a bright future ahead. And as she looked up at the stars, Ava knew that she would always be ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. She had saved the universe, and she had discovered herself,